Well, we're not far out from now, and Relive the Rivalry, number 9 on the screen right now. I've got the man that created and has driven this 9th edition of Relive the Rivalry, Jaimes Wiggins. James, welcome to our preliminary chat, March 26th, or that weekend of March 26th and 27th is a big weekend for yourself and Relive the Rivalry, and we'll talk about the other bit a bit later. But edition 9 we go. Tell us about why the Huon Valley, because that's where we're going to hold the game this year.
It's just wonderful to be able to take the game to the Huon Valley. It's about taking the game to the people, Stoney. Obviously, we've played the game at North Hobart. We've had a game in Launceston at UTAS Oval, Dial Park Penguin in 2020, 2 days before COVID-19. And now we're taking to one of the heartbeats of Tasmanian football, the Huon Valley. An amazing area, communities, towns versus towns. The rivalry's still there. Both clubs in that area, Huonville and Singlet, are very dominant still in regional football, both playing in the grand finals the last 2 years, 1 win apiece. And having experienced a couple of those games in recent times, they're still getting crowds of 1,500 to 2,000 people, which is unheard of in grassroots footy in Hobart or the greater parts of Tasmania. So really pleased to be able to take it down there, and I think it'll be a big day.
Now, you had a visit there just today with down at the Huon and Huonville. What's the vibe like down in the obviously lead up to the game?
Well, they're very excited. Yeah, it's just a great thing. Obviously, like a lot of areas around Australia, they've gone through some issues with COVID-19 and cancellations of events and bits and pieces, but they love their footy so much, and obviously it's not far away from kicking off their season in the SFL and local football in Tasmania. So we think we made the right decision. It's going to be a big day, Stoney, as you're well aware. There's 3 games that day. At 10:30, we have OHA, premiers of the Old Scholars competition the last 2 years, are taking on Huonville, the local club. At 12:30, we've got a women's game between Claremont SFLW, who were runner-up last year in the SFL Division 1 Grand Final, taking on a combined team from both Signet and Huonville, which is pretty special. Those girls have even trained together, which I think is fantastic, and they're really looking forward to the opportunity, and we always like to showcase women's football. And then obviously the blockbuster at 2:15, Tasmania versus the Victorian / All-Stars.
Some new players drafted into this year's edition, because we've had the old stages like the Atkins boys. They've been around a long time. They've played in every edition of the Relive the Rivalry, but you've got some new players into the equation this year.
Yeah, we certainly have, which is always great, Stoney, to turn over a few and bring some new guys in. But just to touch base on the new ones, obviously Michael Riscatelli, who won a best and fairest at the Brisbane Lions and obviously went down to the Gold Coast Suns for a while. So Risk is on his way. Lyndon Dunn, bit of a cult hero at Collingwood and obviously initially at Melbourne with the mullet. I'll be interested to see whether he's still got it. Andrew Cracker, obviously started his career at Richmond, went through a tough period and come through the other way. Played some wonderful football with the Swan Districts Football Club in Perth, got an opportunity back with Collingwood and finished off his career really well. Leon, obviously he had a wonderful career with Collingwood and freaky skills and ability. And there's plenty of also local talent around the state that are getting their first opportunity as well.
So that's really good. The Tassie boys and some of the Tassie boys that are going to go around and just name a few of those, because we want to try and promote the game on March 26th down in the Huon. And I know that this obviously a lot of Tasmanian people will see this. So you've got a free weekend that weekend. You want to see some great football. Some of the Tassie players running around, Wiggo?
Yeah, obviously Russell Robinson. Robbo's been quite a regular over the journey. Always loves to come down and probably takes it a little bit more serious than others with a few hangers and stuff, Stoney, but it's great to have Robbo playing the game. A Melbourne best and fairest winner in the early 2000s and kicked 400 goals, so that's no mean feat. Adrian Fletcher. Fletch missed the game on the Northwest Coast, unfortunately, but loves playing in these games. A guy that obviously played at 3 or 4 AFL clubs, very well travelled, but a solid contributor. Simon Atkins, as you said, him and Paul have played in all 9 games, or all 8 games to date. Never miss a game, and probably do their best work on the Friday night, Saturday morning, and then maybe try and get 1 or 2 touches during the day. Paul Williams is back. Willow played when we played the game in Launceston. He's only ever played the 1 game, but to have a guy who's actually a member of the Tasmanian team of the century is sensational. But also the new crop from the Northwest Coast. Andrew Herring, a guy that played over 200 games of football on the Northwest Coast, was originally drafted at Carlton way back in 1986. 2 or 3 time premiership player at the Burnie Dockers. Kurt Harnett, another guy that played in all 5 premierships at Burnie. Greg Sharman, people will know him from both ends of the state, played football with Clarence in premierships, played a handful of games with the Devils and went on to be a very good forward at the Wynyard Football Club. He's coming down for his first opportunity. Nick Payne, I think he's a 6-time premiership player at Clarence Stoney, which is sensational, and played his Devils games, and he's a quality human. And then you throw the likes of Paul Hudson, Michael Gale, Ian Callanan, comeback game for the Nut. As you know, Stoney had to retire over 15 months ago. He'll be treated very kindly on the day, but it's wonderful for the little fella to get back out on the ground and play some football with some of his mates again. And I know there's a few blokes buzzing to play that. And Toddy Russell, country goal legend up in Launceston, too lazy. He'll tell you he was too lazy to train and have a crack at state league football, etc., but kicked a number of goals at 3 or 4 or 5 different clubs in the Launceston area. And Toddy obviously had that unfortunate situation with the Beaconsfield Nines, but life's good for him now. He's in a great place, and he's really looking forward to the opportunity not only to play in the game, but he's great mates with Nutter and stuff, and he's really looking forward to hopefully getting a kick off Nutter or handball and vice versa.
And of course, Fev and Acker, and to have those 2 boys going around again and coming back to the state. They've had great success when they've played down here on one-off games, and we know all about the Glenorchy experience way back. But it'll be great having those because they are attractions to the crowd.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm really grateful for those 2 guys. I have obviously a strong bond with Acker for a long, long time, Stoney, but also created a great relationship with Fev. This will be Fev's 4th appearance. He's 3 games to date. Stoney's kicked 29 goals. Pretty outrageous, but really hasn't tried or been a ball hog. He's really put on a clinic and stuff for the fans. Acker's obviously the showman, and it'd be wonderful to have him run around the Huon Valley Oval. But also a couple of other stalwarts that I need to mention are Mickey O and Darren White. You know, Mickey O, apart from 1 game, I think, has played every game, and they just love being involved, and they're just quality humans, very giving of their time. And everyone involved, that's the great thing about the game, Stoney, is that everyone involved are there for the right reasons, and they're good humans, and happy to give time back to people as well. So everyone that gets along to the ground will get opportunities for photos and all that type of stuff on the day. They have the opportunity to go at the huddles and listen to Andy Lovell, who's coaching Tasmania, or David Rees-Jones, all that type of stuff. And I think it'll be fantastic and well received down there.
Sponsorship, and I know that any game you put on, you need to have obviously logistics and transport, and obviously we've got accommodation and food on the day. But one of the ex-players and a former Melbourne great and former obviously North Melbourne player who mark of the century, Sean Smith from Woodpawn, has come on as a major sponsor. For Smithy to not be able to play anymore, but have contributions to a sponsor of this great concept is a great thing, Wiggo.
Yeah, it's just awesome. Come out of left field. Obviously, Sean, unfortunately, with the issues with concussion and stuff, was forced to not run around anymore in the game up until being diagnosed and stuff. He played in every game, so I think he pulled up on game 7. Just loves being involved with the game and what it's all about, and obviously the charities that we're currently supporting and previously supported. So Smithy had no hesitation in getting involved and come on board as the naming rights sponsor, which is fantastic. Just says a fair bit about what he thinks about the day and what it's all about. More importantly, it keeps him involved with the game as well, which would always do anyhow because he's part of the RTR family. Good things are going on in Smithy's life. Woodpawn's all about recycled timber. He quite often goes out to demolition sites and stuff and finds bits and pieces, and he's making chopping boards, and he's making stools and chairs, and he's making tables and whiskey barrels. He's putting AFL logos on them, and I know through the September period, October period when Melbourne won their flag, chopping boards are very popular with the Melbourne logo and stuff, and he's planning on bringing a lot of that stuff down and out of the back of his beautiful Valiant that I think you may have seen recently, Mark.
Yes.
He'll have chopping boards and bits and pieces and all goodies down at the Huon Valley Oval. So hopefully people will snap up the bargain, but also support someone that's obviously looking after us. So he's got a great website, Mark, www.woodpawn, and I'll go www.pawn.com.au. Outstanding website. Looks fantastic. And I'm sure you can pick up a bargain. I'm very grateful for Smithy. Whilst we're talking about sponsors, Stoney, I'd really like to harp on some of the long-term sponsors that have been involved, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Mackay United, originally Williamstown Crane Hire, have been involved from day one. So they're 9 years in now, contributed over $20,000 to our game. Just amazing for a company that's based out of Melbourne in Williamstown. Really, really grateful for Hubie Mackay, Tom Smith, and obviously Simon Atkins is now the general manager there. So outstanding support from them. CRB, Chris Risey Builders, been involved for a long time as well. Was a team sponsor and stuff, but now he looks after the runners and also the umpires on the day. So very grateful for Chrissy Rising and the crew staying involved. The old Wool Store, obviously every time we stay in Hobart or play the game in Hobart, we stay there, and that's been a wonderful relationship. LRF Sport, been on board for about 5 years now, managed by the former Tasmanian Luke Faulkner, based in Queensland. Dion Scott, ex-Devonport, Brisbane, Sydney boy, is in the background as well. Mate, without a doubt, their apparel is the best in the business. I don't say that lightly. That'll upset a couple of people around the track, Stoney, but that's a fact. When comparing apples for apples, that other opposition doesn't match up.
And when you're actually at the game, make sure you have a look at the umpires, both players, the shorts, the socks, both jumpers. Just sensational design, Wiggo. I've seen the designs and the colouring of the designs. Yes, James, there you go. Wood Pawn and also Relive the Rivalry, and we'll talk about your sponsor in a moment. But just, LRF have been sensational with their designs. And one of the other people I'm going to use, the Avis, Graham Bentley from Avis has been sensational. And I spoke to him this week, Wiggo, so thanks very much for that.
You're welcome. Graham Bentley's been outstanding. They've been virtually involved from day one, which, yes, they have been. And not only provide service for the game and getting our officials and people around, but also when people are travelling to Tasmania out of the blue, Graham's more than happy to accommodate people and look after them. And that's been ongoing for a long time. Guys coming down for meetings or going for a wander around the state and stuff. That's the great thing about the game is our people, if and when they get an opportunity, they support those who support us, and that's very important. And that's a message that I always say, please support those who support us. Just quickly, mate, Elastoplast have been involved. Obviously, hopefully they don't have to use too much tape and stuff for these boys, but been a wonderful support for us. Win Television, Win Network, Brent Costello and the guys have been wonderful, not only with promotion before the game, but also advertising. Inside Tech Pivot, based out of the Northwest Coast Fertiliser Company, look after our website. I Spy Signs, absolutely outstanding. Changed management recently, and the new people are more than happy to continue on, Stoney, and they're the ones that provide all the signs that we were able to place around the ground and promote our sponsors. Just quickly again, TFH Hire, Wayne Lamb, barriers and bits and pieces have been wonderful. Rockwall Restaurant, originally Gary Baker and Sue Catchpool, after 14 years recently retired.
I'll be going there, Wiggo. I'm sure Bakes I'll be in there, Bakes having a bit of a feed, so well done.
Well, he'll have a feed with you because he's not working there anymore, Stoney. So,
there you go.
So I think he's still there in the interim period, but they've been wonderful support, not only for the game, but for myself for a long, long time. Another group that we should never fail to mention, Stoney, TFUA, the Tasmanian Football Umpires Association, always provide a set of umpires for all three games, voluntary. The guys also travel to UTAS when we played the game at UTAS Oval, and obviously 18 months ago the game was played on the coast, and the guys from the Northwest Football Umpires Association donated their time, so very grateful for their support as well.
The charity partner in the last couple of years is Beyond Blue. Now, as I know you have, a very strong interest in mental health, and Beyond Blue have been the leaders for a very long time. So for them to be the partner of choice for the game and all the money's donated to go to that game, that's a pretty strong message to not only the people of Tasmania, but the people of Australia. We go.
So I say it all the time, it resonates with a lot of people connected with the game, and you're well aware of that, Mark, and so am I. I guess the one thing that hasn't really come out in recent times, and we always talk about with the COVID-19 issues and bits and pieces, is the amount of people who have struggled with their businesses, the small businesses around Australia, and also particularly here or even Melbourne. A lot of our guys come from Melbourne, but we've also got a sprinkling of guys from South Australia, New South Wales and Queensland. And I'm sure a lot of people have done it tough, and we know people like Paul Di Martina, who I send my love and wishes to, and hopefully he's in a good place. Hasn't been great lately and obviously suffered with his business and stuff. So Beyond Blue is important with that 24-hour call centre. Who knows how many calls and what sort of transpired the last 2 years with COVID-19, but I'm sure hopefully our contribution to those guys has helped save some lives around Australia, because that's what it's about. And we know that every cent goes into that department. They're also very good to deal with. They touch base quite regularly to see if they can assist in any way. And on game day, there'll be some people rattling tins. And I've also asked them to provide some material and stuff, and they'll have a setup somewhere where they'll have some giveaways and bits and pieces. There's a lot of charities out there chasing a dollar and stuff, but this one's very credible, and it means a lot to a lot of us. So really grateful to be involved with Beyond Blue, and looking forward to the future.
And Wiggo, I suppose any good football game, and charity and rivalries, and has a football record. Now, $10 entry.
Yes.
As it is, you can buy tickets online, and at the gate we go. Is that possible? Is that true?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So at this stage, we'll know a bit more later in the week, but at this stage, we'll have at least 2,000 people allowed into the facility, perhaps 3,500 by the end of the week or early next week, which would be fantastic. You can go online, the Facebook page, Relive the Rivalry, or our website, www.relivetherivalry.com.au. Go onto our news tab. They can scroll down, and there's a QR code there. So you're right, Mark, it's $10 across the board, 3 games of football. They can purchase a program for $3, which will be, I think, about 24 or 26-page quality, full-coloured program, which is always a good thing. We'll launch next week, but you'll also be able to buy players' cards. There'll be a pack of 10 available.
Good.
If you remember back in the days, the Scanlon cards, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, through a mate of mine and a mate of yours, the Lauster, has put me onto someone overseas that actually has quite a bit of fun in putting some cards together. So we've handpicked 5 Tasmanians and 5 Victorian All-Stars, and hopefully they'll sell well and get signed and stuff, obviously. But in 12 months' time, we'll do it again for Game 10.
Fantastic. And I suppose, James, is there anything to finish off with? I haven't mentioned that I'll be down in the Huon Valley as part of the Relive the Rivalry number 9, and I'm excited about obviously coming to Tasmania and being part of what is now tradition. It's part of a yearly calendar of events, and that people who keep coming back year in, year out. It's my chance to get back to the greatest place in the world, and that is Tasmania. But anything else I've forgotten, James, at this stage?
There's 4 guys that are playing Game 9.
Who's that?
We've mentioned the 2 Atkins boys.
Yeah.
They've got enough airtime.
Yeah.
Michael Gale, he'll tell you openly that never wanted to play one game because he got pestered by me. Loved it so much that he'll keep playing. And he sent me a message recently, reckons his body's knocked up. But if Gary Baker is playing at age 69, he'll keep playing.
And Gary's quite happy to tell you that last year he kicked 4 and was feeling as best he has in the whole 9 games.
It's probably helped, Stoney, that probably the last 12, 18 months, Bull, for whatever reason, has decided to get back in the gym most mornings. As you said, he's crab walked and somehow got around with the walking frame for about 8 years, for about 2 months after the game. But as you said, he pulled up really well, kicked 4, reckons he could have kicked another half a dozen if they'd looked for him. And probably the most impressive goal on that day, Stoney, was the one he took from 30 metres out, kicking to the town end of Penguin. And I actually thought he'd tear his groin, and he went back and nailed it. That probably helped that Darren White was on the goal line and shepherded it, but it went through. But how wonderful that, at 69 years of age, the big bull, 1978 Melbourne Best and Fairest winner, and played for the Big V and stuff, to be still running around. And there's a lot of good stories. We talk about that all the time, Stoney, but the friendships that are made, the networks, the connections, people are working together on projects, people are engaging each other for bits and pieces. And we say it all the time, but this game's good for a lot of reasons. And
it's good for a lot of reasons for you, James, because you actually, with a whole lot of people, pull together and give a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, a lot of smiles, and obviously as much money as you can raise for Beyond Blue, which is a great cause. Wiggo, it's a big weekend for you, and I can't be not remiss of me saying congratulations on your upcoming nuptials to the lovely Natasha, which will happen the day after the game. And so the weekend of the 26th and 27th is a big weekend for Jaimes Wiggins. So good luck, mate. We might even check in next week before the game again, but it's a bit of a promotion of the game. And people in Tasmania, if you're coming to Tassie and you've got a spare day, make sure you pop on down to Huon Valley Oval and have a look at the game. So
Thank you very much, Stoney, and I'll leave you with this one. Thank you very much to the Huonville Football Club, the Rotary Club and Lions Club that are heavily getting involved. But also thank you very much to the Huon community for their wonderful support. There are a number of new sponsors involved with the game, and it's wonderful that they've jumped on board and thrown their weight behind it. And hopefully it's a fantastic day, and we'll rubber stamp it for October 2023.
Yeah, fantastic. We go. Good luck, and let's talk soon.
Take care.
Yeah.
See you, mate.